weeks, ever since, just to say the least. I start mobbing motherfuckers like a savage beast. I'm taking my turn to make the mic burn. And when I'm teaching classes, a lesson to be learned. Now I'm battle boxing, tries all white. Never got a lot of hate, they always battle despite. Coach jealous of me, the West Side man. The leader of the brothers and killer of the clan. Girl, I don't give a shit, cause I'm riding the jet. Cold with you in the yard, tight up with my pit. Cause when she starts to fight, that's when I want to fight. The views of the party take it to new heights. I can see of myself, the freaking part of me. Swallowing down my head because the rhymes are sweet. Big called the competition, magician of a bitch. You got a little problem, it's a solution. Never quit, sin and quit, never win. So why you just down the with dubs and bids? Remember what I say, it sticks like crazy glue. I'm telling you now, I'm not afraid. You'll come in my face, I'll take your heart apart. And like I told you before, what? I get no doubt in the dark.
Rocken Larry Locken here. Hey, what's going on? To anybody watching, it's about 12:06 a.m. on the West Coast here. My voice is a little dry. I had originally taped this and I had the volume on mute, but you know how shit goes. Oh well. I'd like to give a shout out, of course, to Kenny Jackson, the founder of this channel, the What's Your Opinion, my co-host, my future co-host on the What's Your Opinion show. He's also the founder of Opinion That Facts Entertainment, the Opinion That Facts YouTube channel. So, you know, you can expect great things from us in the future. We're just having a little bit of technical difficulties, and, you know, with all these gadgets that we've got to work through and work with and different social media sites. So, you know, like everything, it's a work in progress. But I kind of wanted to talk tonight a little bit about, just do a little rant on probably a handful to two handful of issues that the United States is going to need to at some point in the future get past. I mean, these are all issues really, when I go down the list, it should have been addressed 40 or 50 years ago at the very least. But first of all, I'd like to start off by saying, if any of you watched my last video, I talked a little bit about the Electoral College. The Electoral College, our voting system. In this day and age, it's absolutely reprehensible that we don't use the popular vote. We've had two elections now in the last 18 years where, you know, or from 2000 to 2016. And it doesn't matter if you wanted Bush to beat Gore or if you wanted Trump to beat Hillary. Hillary and Gore both won the popular vote. Okay? And you also had a situation in 2004 where Kerry was running against Bush. Ohio was still up for grabs, getting late into the night. And, you know, just like typical in minority voting neighborhoods, specifically black ones, there's like 9-hour lines. People have to wait in line like 9 hours. In fact, they stopped letting people vote, and there were still tons and tons of people in areas that would have heavily favored Kerry and might have swung that election for Bush. Bush still won the overall popular vote by a little bit, but I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, that we don't have a popular vote. And that was set up again, that was set up in the Constitution. So, you know, these land barons and these slave owners of these southern states, of these small little desolate, nothing but, you know, tumbleweeds going by. So they would have the same power and same control, and they could exert their will, their religious ideology, their racism beliefs, their, you know, their slavery, of course, for centuries, you know, and they still have that mentality. And so that kind of thinking has kept us really from advancing to where we should be. I mean, socially, we should be 40 or 50 years ahead of where we are now. And now it seems like we're going backwards and actually it's a good thing in a way, as these people start exposing who they are, right? And they start dying off, you know, it's a good thing. But the problem is they teach it to their kids. And hopefully all the kids that they try to teach this shit to won't buy into it, or they'll learn other ways through social media and, you know, not necessarily want to drive around in a pickup truck with a Confederate flag and, you know, and hate immigrants and just vote against their own, you know, and they love to vote against their vote. They love voting against their own best interests. It's the nuttiest thing I've ever seen. You know, it's just crazy. But there's enough good people out there now that if we really get involved and get serious in our own ways, whether that's running for something, whether that's just doing a podcast, whether that's writing a column, you know, things of that nature, but just being involved, there's enough good people of all races that outnumber these fuckers. Okay, but they're still a plight on our society. And until we, you know, until we get control back of the government, until we get rid of, we really need kind of an infrastructure revolution. We need to get rid of all the lobbyists. That's a duh. Everybody knows that. You know, big pharma, and especially the biggest, to me, and this is going to piss a lot of people off, the biggest domestic fucking terrorist group in the country is the goddamn NRA, and it has been for decades. It started out as this gun safety type club. Okay, fine. But, you know, and now it's been, you know, exposed that a lot of their donations have come from Russia, which is not surprising. Russia's probably been backing them for decades. I know people don't like to go down that rabbit hole of Russia, but with me, it's different. I'm kind of a Soviet Union expert. I studied it a lot when I was younger and how they work and how their mind, you know, during the Cold, I grew up during the Cold War, so their mindset fascinated me. And, you know, that's how they do shit. They disrupt. Um, you know, our election, you know, nobody talks about this in our election, but you've got 3 states, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, that were all, you know, they're all very typical Democrat winning states. So Trump wins those 3 states by a total of like 70,000. And I always got this weird hunch towards the end of the election. Trump made this comment, and he went to Michigan like the night before the election for another rally for just kind of some weird, no reason at all. And he's like, "Oh, I guess I got to go up to Michigan for this rally." And I just wonder the voting. I just, something in my gut tells me there's something up with those 3 states in the ballot boxes, and maybe that's, you know, on Mueller's mind too. Who knows? But we'll probably never know the answer to that. But that just kind of strikes me. So that'll piss people off that, you know, we've had, you could almost say 3 presidents that shouldn't have won that have been elected. Okay, and this has just been since the century started. Yeah, we got to get rid of that electoral college. Okay, we got to get with the rest of the goddamn world too, and start offering everybody free medical care and go one better, free prescriptions. I'm sorry, it can be done. The rigmarole that we do now, bringing in people that don't have insurance to hospitals, and you know, it gets put into you know, a debt collecting, and it costs everybody money, and it's just a big bet, you know, and people to oversee it. It's just a fucked up system. Okay, I mean, every civilized country in Europe, Canada, they all have a form of it. I think we can do a better form of it and cover prescriptions completely for everybody from birth to time they pass away. Everything completely covered. We've got the money for it. We can do it. You know, and yet we need to get real about it. It's a goddamn fucking embarrassment that we don't have it. Okay, now let me go down some more embarrassments of the United States. It get worse, people. Like Kenny say, it get worse. It get worse. Okay, we also need college. Listen, first of all, we need to improve all our elementary schools, all our high schools. We need to go in rural areas. We need to especially go in the inner cities and do this. Bring them into the fucking 21st century. Wi-Fi, better desks, better equipment. Let's modernize the way schools look, okay? Let's get creative and modernize it to, you know, to fit a more, you know, the millennials, the kids of today. Let's invest in that shit, okay? And let's get the religious ideologues out of those schools, okay? Because if they have their way, these people would have you teaching the Bible in chemistry class, okay? Or, you know, or teaching parts of the Bible in biology. God knows what the hell they would do. Say that, I've even seen some of their textbooks from these charter schools in Texas were trying to claim that black people were just tourists that came over here and wanted to stay here. I mean, this sick fucking shit is out there, and it needs to be exposed. It's ridiculous. And Betsy DeVos, Trump's education secretary, she is a very, very pro charter school person, anti public schools, of course. Corrupt as hell. Her brother ran Blackwater, which is another private security military corporation. See what the problem is in this country. We cannot have all this shit privatized. I'm all for businesses making good money and doing that, but we cannot have these prisons privatized. Okay, we cannot have fucking military that aren't accountable to our leaders and accountable to our people. We can't have rogue things like that. Okay, those things have no business in the government, just like they have religion has no business in the government. All right, privatization of all this shit, all it is a backdoor scam for somebody to make money. You even see it maybe in your local school district where the buses used to say the name of the school district or whatever on it. Now they have the busing name company on it because that's been contracted out. The food in the cafeteria contracted out. This shit needs to stop. Okay, all this does is create backdoor money to people and things of that nature, and it creates fascism too, because then you've got all these corporations and everybody's scratching everybody's back, and there's no oversight, there's no regulatory measures, and of course the Republicans will sit there and go, oh well, that's this and that's overregulated, the Environmental Protection Agency is overregulating this and that, and all. That's one of their dog whistle talking points. You know what I mean? Are there some lame things that the EQ does and shit like that, and you go a little extreme on maybe here and there, but not anything to justify not having them around. I mean, my God, it's ridiculous. Okay, and we need free education. We need it. Period. When you get to community college, you get your associate. Guess what? You get to go on to go get your bachelor's and your master's, and you're paid while you're doing this, like these other countries do. They invest in their people and pay them a stipend to go to college. They invest in their people, so these people don't come out of college with all this fucking debt that they can never pay off. All right. So a doctor doesn't have to come right out of college and charge people $1 million because he's $2 million in debt after 12 years of school. Okay. These are problems that these other countries don't have, and it puzzles them. My fiance is from Iceland and lives in Denmark right now, and is moving here soon. But it puzzles people here. It's so fucking greedy, and it's such a racist thing over here too, because people don't want, these white people don't want, God forbid, they don't want, they have this stuff in their mind where if you're a darker skin tone, you're a second class citizen, and they don't want they would not vote for anything that would benefit them necessarily, just because they don't want it to benefit you. And and that fucked up mentality needs to go, needs to leave here. I got to get my flashlight for my Loped After Dark next issue. Okay, gay marriage has been legalized. It's time to leave it alone. It's time to let it go. It's time to drop it. The Supreme Court, sadly enough, could get rid of it and drop it back to being a state issue, but it's time consciously we get past that. We're going to have to get past that issue to graduate people. These are all issues I was passed when I was born, by the way. I have no issue with them, and people that do are acting out of emotion. And you know what? This is the biggest compromise ever. If you don't like abortion, don't have one. If you're against gay marriage, guess what? Guess what? You don't have to be gay. You don't have to marry somebody who's gay. You don't have to. If they try to force you to, it's a weapon, call the authorities. Okay? Not that I like calling the cops, but, you know, I'm being kind of facetious here. Yeah, I mean, you know, and also too, abortion, drop it. I understand how people feel. You know, if I wouldn't have wanted my wife to abort any of our children unless she had to, but it's nobody's choice besides the doctor and the patient inside those walls. Nobody has the right to even give a shit. Well, maybe the husband, okay, whatever, but it's nobody's fucking business at all. And it ain't like a woman would use fucking abortion for just birth control like they try to play out. It's a traumatic event. Okay? And for anybody to insinuate that you're going to have all these women using abortion for birth control is just absolutely fucking disgusting. It's a sick, sexist, right-wing nut talking point, okay? And yet they care so much about your little fetuses, your little embryo, your little aborts, even anything. And then once it's born, though, they could give a fuck less. They're not the kind of party, they're not the kind of people that would want to necessarily help fund Head Start and free school lunch programs and all that shit. They could give a motherfucking less. They tell you, pull yourself up out of the bootstrap, boy, and get out there and do something. Why they drink fucking lemonade and whatever kind of sweet tea they drink down there in old Mississippi Stan or, you know, Alabama Stan or some of these places that I certainly wouldn't go to. I wouldn't go to. I wouldn't. Fuck no. I remember a show one time, Kenny was mentioning one time that his wife had mentioned some land, there was some good deal on a land in Mississippi or something, or maybe it's something like that. He's like, fuck no, moving down to Mississippi. I'm like, no. I'm like, man, no. Tell her Mississippi is not the fucking place to be. I mean, you know, I definitely, if I was a Northern African American, I wouldn't go as a white West Coast liberal guy. I wouldn't fucking go through there because I'd be okay until the moment I opened my fucking mouth anywhere and I couldn't handle it. And I'm not going into fucking some enemy territory like that. You know, it's just, there's nothing there and the energy is just disgusting. So fuck it. You know what I mean? I'm almost like Kenny said, a couple of those states could succeed and keep to their own, but you know, we'll give them like Louisiana and give them some of the bayou, and they ain't getting Texas though, because we're gonna turn Texas blue. We're gonna get those people turned around. Okay, look, another thing too, drugs. Why have we not legalized drugs completely decades ago? We'll get rid of all these narcs and DEA agents, get rid of all this fucking cartel corruption. It'd be clean, it'd be regulated, it'd be dirt cheap. For people over 21, the robberies would go way down. Crime would go way down. All this shit happens. Portugal has done this. This is what's happened. You know, you might get a first wow when it first happened, like when they legalized weed in Oregon. Now they got so much of it in Oregon they can't sell it, but people might go in and get a bag of something, get a bag of blow or whatever. Oh, look what I fucking bought it legally. But after a while, what Portugal found is that less and less people used it, and their crime rate plummeted 90% over a couple of year period. Gee, I wonder why. I mean, you know, if the biggest junkie in the world only needed $4 or $5 a day to get off versus several hundred, you know, and I'm talking like a big time junkie. I mean, you're not going to have any fucking crime. Okay. And second of all, really, unless somebody's forcing a kid or forcing somebody to use drugs, right? We could make that argument. It could be done with alcohol. It's really none of your fucking business. If they're at home, minding their own business, whatever, it's none of your business if they want to fucking do a line of blow or whatever the fuck they want to do. They want to do some dope, whatever. Weed, tobacco, alcohol, whatever. It's a substance, and it's really, we need to get past it, because even if it was the worst shit in the world, the money that we spend on fighting it way outweighs the problems that even the biggest exaggerator of drugs can make up. You know, like the DARE program used to try to tell kids, oh, well, 80% of hardcore drug users started out with weed. But they failed to tell the other side of that story. And it was exposed that, well, 80% of people who try pot never go on to have a real problem with hard drugs. You know, probably it's probably even a little more than that. And on the other side, it's probably even a little more than that. I can't, you know, there's 20% of young people out there that didn't start with weed and started with other drugs. That's kind of amazing that it's not less than that. That, you know, because weed, you don't even think about it. If you drink, I mean, the first thing you might have is a beer when you're a kid, or, you know, I don't know. But, you know, but that's just the bullshit. And we could avoid all this minutia and then just legalizing it. See, but then, and having the lobbyists out of there, and then see, but then there's nothing to fight about. These people are stuck in a low consciousness, and they like drama too. See, these are people not like you and I. These are people, these saltine cracker type of people. They think kind of with a reptilian mind. Okay, so like something happens, right? Their first reaction, instead of fucking sadness and hurt, is a madness, anger. And I'm not talking about a situation that might happen to somebody's kid or something extreme. I mean, just something the basic everyday that doesn't bother you or hurt your feelings. These people get fucking mad and vengeful and like grudgeful at first, whereas people like us might get a little bit, you know, just bummed out and sad by it. You know, that's kind of the difference. And they think that way. They think in a religious ideologue of spare the rod, spoil the child. They believe in, you know, God knows what they believe in. There is, you know, the inbred shit that goes on in some of those because everything's so repressed. They'd love to teach about abstinence. Okay, this is funny. I mean, they preaching abstinence to teenagers, like preaching it, right? And then absolutely also, on the other hand, preaching total anti-condom, birth control pills, no access to that, nothing. They really expect that. This is how sick these people are. And then that's what leads to all these births, all these fucking people in the South, cousins and stuff, fucking and having, you know, I mean, this shit is real. It goes on in these places. It goes on everywhere. But, you know, the South and parts of the Midwest can have a weird frequency control over it. I don't know. Lots of shit to atone for from them. But, yeah, you know, and then that ridiculous Confederate flag, fuck, man. It just shows their ignorance. It was only in existence for 4 fucking years, and it wasn't even, it was land barons and landowners that were running that fucking shit. It don't even make sense to even have a part of the monument. It just shows how racist people are. The monuments were built for these fuckers that were in the Confederate, you know, army and the Confederate fucking supposed White House for 4 years, or Jefferson Davis fucking lived, you know, probably the great grandfather of Jefferson Davis, Beauregard Sessions, that our lovely Keebler elf looking fucking pale Attorney General. So I mean, you know, but yeah, he's one that would really love to legalize drugs. Ha ha ha. This guy would like to see you put in jail for fucking 20 years for having a seed found on the floorboard of your car. Okay, that's how redneck this guy is. But these issues I'm going through are issues that the nation's going to need to solve. Here's a big one. Reparations. Yeah, seriously, reparations. Hey, white people, if you're listening to me, listen fucking good. Looking in the mirror time is here. It's been here for a long time. Okay? This isn't something you can just chalk up anymore to flipping the channels and fucking seeing, you know, somebody yelling and screaming for, you know, reparations or whatever, when they have every fucking right to. Because hey, I'm going to try to appeal to any logic that some races might have. But we'll put aside for a second the genocide that was done to the African Americans. Let's just talk about the money that's fucking owed to the descendants of these slaves that built the fucking country's infrastructure. I mean, seriously, the White House, our initial highways, every fucking thing, okay? John Henry style. That's a legend that I believe is real. There was a lot of John Henrys and they built this fucking country. Okay, so there's some money owed. I saw a figure somewhere. I wish I had dug it up for fuck. If we were real about it and we made right, every African American that had some, that it was a descendant of somebody that was a slave would. I'm not saying people would get wealthy, but it'd be enough for every African American citizen, like I said, with that descendancy to be pretty, pretty comfortable. Let's just say not have to worry about the bills and things of that nature. I ain't saying they could go out and buy two mansions, but there'd be no worries really at all. So that's owed for that, and then you get into the fact of, all these people that don't want to acknowledge what was done. Okay, it's one thing that the white race came over here and invaded, the Native Americans and gave them blankets with smallpox, but it's another thing to take citizens from a fucking country in a rickety boat, chained up across the ocean, people dying, people beat, people being, and I think that's like the fucking beast. If we really dug into this shit and found out what was going on, I don't think we wanted. Our original sinner is deeper than we realize. The genetic manipulation, I bet that they tried in those days, and especially with the fucking the medical equipment they would have had, and the things that it's sickening. It's a Holocaust. You can't look at it any other way. It's a fucking genocide that was done. And you want to talk about who's been fucked over of races and stuff like that. There's the Holocaust against the Jews, Holocaust to get Native Americans fucked over. Tell you what, there to me has never been a bigger Holocaust on this planet than what was done to African American slaves. When you add it all up, when you add what was done to them, brought over here, what we did to them here, what they went through, the murders, the shit we see on tape now, on film now, when it happens, that's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, that's like you catching me for a minute and saying hi, and then not seeing the rest of my 23 hours and 59 minutes of the goddamn day. It's been going on forever. I mean, white people in this country, really, a lot of them piss me off. Rodney King pissed me off. I was 16 years old, and those cops should have gotten life in jail, and I would have put the motherfuckers in the mainstream population if it were me. Probably couldn't have done it as a judge, but I would have tried it and let them overrule me on it. I would have put them away for a long time, and if the jury found them not guilty, I would override the jury and say, they're guilty. They're guilty of attempted murder, attempted manslaughter. I would have got those cops with everything and recommended mainstream population. That wouldn't have happened, but I've been on record saying it. And then the last thing too, okay, after all that, the NRA, the biggest fucking national domestic war terrorist group in the U.S. history, sadly, and they've been that way for decades now. Yeah, the little gun club that just started out now with all the Russian money. My friend Bob Kincaid, be sure to check out the Bob Kincaid show. He's on Twitter and Facebook. He calls it the National Ruble Association. That's Russian money, by the way, ruble. Because they do fund the NRA a lot. The Russians fund a lot of our stuff. A lot of things they always have. I'm a Soviet historian. I know they're very good head game players. Very good head game players. So, with that, I just kind of wanted to, talk about some of these things and just kind of address how I feel, what are the things that we're going to need to get past in this nation and look in the mirror before we finally move forward. And I also wanted to remind people out there that this 30-40%, 45% of these rednecks out there, that if Trump is impeached or Trump is not elected again and they're suspicious and they decide that they would like to start taking it out on other communities, black communities, maybe white, where they think white liberal people live, locations, I would like to remind them that, not all of us white liberals are just fucking pussies with not access to anything. And, you know what I mean? If they want to start some shit with, if they want to go in and start some shit with Hispanic neighborhoods, black neighborhoods, white neighborhoods that don't buy into shit, if they want to start some shit in a case like that and try to start a second civil war, they're going to think they're back at Appomattox, brother. Look it up, Google Appomattox. They'll think they're back there. So that's just a little friendly reminder to them. As far as guns, what do we do? When we get rid of these lobbyists, we've already got more guns in the country than people, some people estimate. I wouldn't go after people's guns. I wouldn't do that, but I would maybe limit or quit manufacturing them. I mean, that's, and if you got so many of them, maybe pay insurance on, $10 a month on them. I don't know. Way to track them, but not really get in people's business because they're going to be around. But the thing with the guns, right? All these other issues could logically be solved if these people had a clue. But the gun one is going to be complicated. The gun one is going to have to come through consciousness. It's going to have to come through consciousness. Think about it. Even if we had a fucking trillion guns in this country, if people were 99.99.99 and on sensible with the motherfuckers, it wouldn't even be a topic. Okay. I mean, it really wouldn't be much of a subject. Myself, I don't believe in hunting. I only believe in hunting to stay alive, to eat. I don't, but that's my opinion. That's not something that I would ever try to regulate if I was in charge, but I would hope someday consciousness will override that thrill of wanting to go kill something that's got eyes and a soul like you do, unless you're hungry and starving. But that's just my opinion, you know what I mean? Not necessarily facts, just opinions. And I appreciate everybody, if anybody listens to this, I really do appreciate it. And thank you for listening to the rambling. And I'd like to thank once again, sorry for sounding so monotone. I did this and it was really exciting, and I had the damn thing on mute the whole time, so it recorded me muting. But I'd really like to thank Kenny Jackson, my future co-host of the What's Your Opinion show. A great, great soul, a wonderful man. He totally third eye open, pineal gland awakened. Also check him out at what's his main channel, Opinion But Facts. It's going to be called Opinion But Facts Entertainment, because it's going to be basically like the mothership to other channels and other talk shows, and we want other people involved and stuff like that. And I'm plugging them on my two main channels, the Pleiadian Express Productions and Pleiadian Light Grid Project. But our YouTube, our Facebook, and Twitter, we have an account. What's Your Opinion show on there? The Instagram we're working with. The software, it's hard to explain. Kenny and I were both having issues. Maybe he's got it figured out by now. So anyway, I want to send much love to everybody out there, and thank you so much. And have a blessed day, and let's just try to stick together and get through this, and we'll be on the right side of history, I promise you. And with that, I did everybody a big dating game cosmic kiss. Mwah.